Thank you again. Just waiting on notification. Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to
Yes, sir.
thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this morning. We have an incredible guest with us, Brother Leslie Muhammad, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Brother Leslie, this means so much to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. For those who may not know, Brother Leslie has been a long working soldier, just putting in work in the nation, and has always been kind to myself and my family. And he watched us grow up and always has been a good brother. So I want to thank you very much for that, Brother Leslie, for always showing us love.
Yes, sir.
The first question I want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing. I've always been a spiritual and religious person. Okay. So actually, I first heard about the messenger probably in around 75-ish. One of my closest friends is named Daoud. His family, his father, who recently passed, may Allah be pleased with his soul. His father, their family joined the nation. So my friend Daoud used to tell all of us about the messenger. And all my other friends would make mockery, but I never did. I'm not going to be so bold as to say I understood, but I would always kind of listen and kind of engage in conversation. Now, unfortunately for him and his family, they joined right around the time when the messenger left. And, the nation took a major fall. It sent a lot of people in a lot of various directions, and, his family as well. So that was my first hearing about it. And my mother is very big in the Christian church. My mother passed 11 years ago. And our church was on 90th and Stony, Vernon Park Church of God, and Claude and Addie Wyatt. And I didn't know that the minister knew them on a first name basis.
Yes, sir.
But Pastor Wyatt came to the mosque once. If I had to take a guess, I'd say we're probably talking 5-ish, maybe 15, 16 years ago would be my best guess. And the minister was talking, and the minister just, he blurted out some names. He was like, Clay, Claude, you all gonna have to help me with this part. And I was kind of like, wow, I didn't know the minister knew, Pastor Wyatt on a first name basis. So, my mother was friends with someone who was in the nation, like I said, at the same time around 75 before the fall. And then after that, I started, so this is where I was going. I went to Northern Illinois University, which is in DeKalb, Illinois.
Yes, sir.
And the minister came to speak there in 1985. So, I also went to Kenwood Academy High School, and Sister Fatima, she went there as well. So I kind of would hear little tidbits about the minister, about things like that, but I didn't have any information. So the minister came to DeKalb and he spoke in 1985, and we were instrumental. Myself and my fraternity was instrumental in bringing him back in 1989. So from 1985, the first time I ever really heard him speak, I was aware of what went down in 84 with Jesse Jackson and the big scandal, which kind of is what brought the minister to the international forum, I would say.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And Brother Leslie, what are your parents' names?
My mother's name is Biola, and my father's name is Lionel.
Excellent.
Bowski. My slave name is Bowski, and that is one of the most unique names you'll ever find for a Black person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. My next question for you is, what when you said your fraternity, what fraternity are you a member of?
Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I put my shirt on as an ode to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
You know, we kind of, people inside of my fraternity, we knew that the minister had pledged, obviously a very long time ago, but we didn't know his story, and he told us his story at a believers meeting, maybe about 5 to 7 years ago, approximately.
Okay, yeah, great. Yes, sir. And bro, Leslie, what made you choose to pledge Omega?
Well, strangely enough, I mean, my fraternity has more visibility than all the other fraternities and organizations put together. So I kind of was aware of it, but actually very superficially. There's a place that's called Evergreen Plaza, and I used to kind of go there and, you know, hang out and gang bang and, you know, do a few other things. And I happened to see you know, a little short bruh. We in the fraternity call each other bruhs.
Yes, sir.
Saw a little short bruh in there who was real dieseled up. He had on like a tank top, and he had a brand. He had a brand, which is a symbol of my fraternity, showing. And when I saw that, I was like, man, it looked like something that I could do, you know.
Yes, sir.
My introduction to my fraternity is an extremely entailed thing as well. I wanted to pledge, and I thought that all you do is just go to a school and you just pledge.
Yes, sir.
But it ain't nothing like that at all. So I went to a private Caucasian school in Wisconsin called Ripon. And I was there. I played football, and it's an excellent school. I did have friends and things like that, but I also knew that wasn't for me. That's not my scene. So one of my friends that I grew up with, he was going to Northern, which is in DeKalb, as I mentioned earlier. Yes, so I transferred there, and you know, and I told my friend that I wanted to pledge, and he said, "Wow." He said, "Well, coincidentally, a member of the fraternity lives in our building." And then he said, "Maybe you should go talk to him." So I went down and I knocked on his door. I introduced myself, and then he and I became friends. We kind of would hang out, and so I first pledged in 1985, but we did not have a chapter, and there was no chapter, no hope. So I pledged in 85. That line got stopped. I pledged again in 1986 under a different person. That line got stopped. And then in 1988, we were able to go over, and it was because of my initial contact with that brother whose name is Cedric Florence in 1985. That's what put the wheels back in motion, and I made it possible for myself to become a Q and everyone else in my chapter to become Qs.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent, Brother Leslie. Being a leader, yes, sir. Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
And so many people are showing you love in the comments on Facebook as well. Both of my sisters, Miriam and Naima, say assalamu alaikum. Sister Sonia is giving me greetings. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube. And thank everybody who like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Well, yes, sir. Well, once you came into the, you joined the ranks, what was it like? Like, who was training you? What was the climate like when you joined the nation?
Okay, well, I as I mentioned earlier, once the leader came in 1985, I would listen to myself, and brother Elbert would listen to tapes a lot when we did road trips and things like that. We would listen to tapes, and anytime I heard that the minister was speaking at the mosque, I would come to the mosque as well. So I saw the minister a couple of times. I believe that started in maybe maybe 91, I believe. 91 or 92, as far as coming to the mosque, but we were listening to tapes back in the late 80s.
Yes, sir.
So I also went to Savior's Day. My first Savior's Day is at Johnny Coleman's church, 1991. Who is God?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I went to each Savior's Day, and then Savior's Day of 1995 is when the minister revealed the Million Man March. And the minister said, hey, I don't need you all just coming and listening and clapping. I need you all to join organizations. So you need to join, church, temple, mosque, synagogue, do something. So I was like, well, if I'm going to join anything, this is what I'm going to join. Mm-hmm. So I went to the Million Man March, and then after the Million Man March is when I came back and started processing. When I was processing was about 4 months back then. So that was my road to coming into the nation. And then when I came in, brother Khalil, we call Old Man Khalil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was one of the instrumental people. Old Man Ron on the security detail. Brother Tommy, brother Quinn Cedric, brother Carl, and assistant minister Michael. Those were kind of like the main people over the class. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention brother Thaddeus was first officer.
Yes, sir.
At that point. Right. So brother Thaddeus is the one who made me a lieutenant, and they were all, and his brother Durrell, they were all very instrumental in teaching and training, and very instrumental, and as far as when I first came in.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And how did your family and friends feel about you accepting the teachings?
Well, strangely enough, people used to tell me that I sounded like a Muslim.
Yes, sir.
Whenever we would have conversations, I was a part of the world of extreme foolishness. So on the one hand, I was doing a lot of very out there extreme partying and extreme foolishness, nonsensical behavior. But then on the other hand, I was a college student. I graduated from college. I was doing things on this side, doing things in the community, helping people out at the same time. So what I started learning within myself was that I had to put more of this down and bring more of this up. So even in that kind of behavior, when I would have conversation with people, I would talk about spirituality and things like that. And people used to always tell me, they used to be like, hey man, are you Muslim? So since people said it to me so much, I ended up coming up with this answer. I would be like, no, I'm not a part of those brothers, but I respect them, or something like that is what I used to say.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. And what was it like for you meeting the Most High Minister Farrakhan for the first time?
Wow, that was well, like I said, the first time I saw him in person was in 1985 in DeKalb.
Yes, sir.
Probably at the mosque, as far as going up and accepting to shake hands with him. But first time I was in probably private meeting was when he spoke to the lieutenants. So that's we're talking probably 97, 96, 97, somewhere in there. I mean, it's a completely breathtaking, overwhelming type of experience.
Yes, sir.
Because I have always been a leader in the community. I was a leader in DeKalb. I forgot to mention, there was some major events that took place in DeKalb when I was down there. DeKalb made the national news because there was 3 very high profile racial events which took place all around the same time. And there was I played football. The football players got into a big fight with this fraternity a Caucasian fraternity because a racial event took place, you know, and the football players ain't the type of people to take one of their people getting beat up very easily. So they went back up there and, you know, smashed the this fraternity. A black guy got jumped in the city of DeKalb for, you know, because he was black. And a couple of, and like I said, in another incident, I don't remember the other one, took place. So there was the national news came up there. We held a rally, and I spoke at the rally. And when I spoke at the rally, you know, it's like everybody kind of focused in on only 2 people speaking. 25 people spoke. The young lady who was president of the Black Student Union at the time, and myself. So a lot of people kind of started looking to me for advice and things like that. Going to a what they call now PWI institutions,
Yes, sir.
it's like you see a lot of cyclical behavior. You know, you see literally 1,500 to 2,000 young Black students come up there, and only a very small percentage of them actually graduate. You start seeing a lot of the same type of cyclical behavior, one of which is trying to join a fraternity. And if that, you know, that works out, and then you kind of get lost in that, or it doesn't work out and it kind of destroys your whole college experience. With the young ladies come up there, get pregnant and leave. And there's just a lot of other, you know, you have all this freedom, you have the ability to drink, not go to class, experimentation, a lot of things. So just the fact of being, you know, over the age of 18, people kind of naturally look to people like myself for advice and things like that. And I started, like I said, I kind of became like a leader on campus. So I was like, well, heck, I know my people can do better than me. So I started kind of seeking out a Black leader that, you know, that a man like me could be devoted to, and could, you know, to have that kind of a thing in his life. That's kind of how I found the minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And as soon as you find him, the first thing he lets you know is, these are the people who brought me. These are the people that taught me. These are the people who made all of this possible.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay, and thank everybody for watching. How did you there's an inspirational tape that's on YouTube that some people, you know, used to watch, and you're on the inspirational tape selling, you know, the Final Call newspaper in the middle of the street, going door to door and things like that. How important was the Final Call newspaper for you, you know, in your foundation and coming into the nation?
Well, it wasn't it wasn't instrumental as far as bringing me in. It is the #1 recruiter in the Nation of Islam, but it's one of the things that it becomes a duty once you come in and you join. So it was inspirational, is that it teaches you that our people are in a wretched condition. And when you're out on the street, it's like it elevates your mind. You know, I'm not the normal degenerate person that I am. It makes me realize that, you know, no matter what pitfalls that have befallen me or us collectively, you know, it's like people are looking to us for help. People are looking to us for information, and it teaches you that. It kind of keeps you on your square. And you know, but selling the Final Call is also not easy, because there's a lot of ignorant people. There's a lot of people that have preconceived notions. People are going through their own personal things. So you know, it's kind of you know, so also Almighty God puts angels around us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And sometimes, you know, an angel doesn't necessarily have to be someone that saves your life or gives you $1 million. An angel could just be someone that says a kind word to you, or or it gives you, inspires you, because one day, also Chicago is cold as heck. So being out and, selling Final Call in extreme weather conditions can be extremely challenging
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
sometime. And I remember one day I kind of, was having a very mediocre day as far as sales are concerned. And I guess it showed on my face. I'm kind of person, unfortunately, I wear my emotions on my face sometimes. And a brother with a very heavy accent, like Jamaican or one of those islands, he kind of rolled up on me, and he kind of was like, like, what you frowned up for? Like, what's going on? And I probably was whining about, well, I'm just kind of having a tough day. It's a little cold out here, whatever, and a person who had recently passed me maybe said something a little out of pocket.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as much as the minister has tried to, teach us restraint and temperament and things like that, I'm not the kind of person that like people running their mouth to me. So, and when I was younger, that could have put that person in a very bad situation. So when I said that to the brother in the vehicle, he said with an accent, he said, "What does that have to do with you?" He said, "You out here for a reason, for a mission, right?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he was like, well then handle your business, and quit whining about it then. And he drove off. But that was like, that was like an angel for me. He gave me just that little bit of inspiration. And right after that, the rest of the day was sunny and bright.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And Brother Leslie, when did you go from seeing the Most High Mentor's Farrakhan, from maybe as someone who was a college speaker on, because he came to the CAB, and a political figure, to someone who was in fact divinely guided?
Well, that's a very, very good question. I would have to say probably from the first time I ever heard him speak. I kind of, it's one of those things, I'm not a very trusting person. My first name is Leslie. I went to 5 grammar schools. So when I was growing up, I fought basically every day of my entire life, almost. People made fun of my name, that turned into an instant fight. Whenever a young Black male goes to a different school, all of the people try to test you. I've been jumped several times, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not a very trusting person. So when I first heard the minister, I heard all of the right things, but you've seen there's other people that are good speakers. So I said, well, you know what, we need to check this out a little bit further to see if the rubber is meeting the road. Is this a man that is just saying these good things and doing something else, or whatever. So once I kind of, started checking it out and investigating, is when, I guess you would say, when I kind of crossed over from realizing this is not a person that is just speaking. This is a person that is divinely guided. The nation was instrumental in directing my life many years before I came in. I stopped eating pork. Well, actually, let me back up a half a step. Some brothers came to my house. I was probably about 11, 12 years old at the most. They were both wearing suits, and I don't know anything else about them. I'll have to assume they were some form of salesman. And then one of them, as they were leaving, one of them kind of said something to me like, what are you eating, or something like that. And I probably unfortunately was eating a swine sandwich at that time. And then he said something like, man, I really wish I had time to talk to you so you wouldn't eat that stuff. And then he just kind of like, hey, brother, have a good day. And then I, knowing me, I probably said something smart, like, what the heck are you talking about, dude? Or something like that. So the reason I brought that up is because I stopped eating pork in 1983.
Mm.
And when I stopped eating pork, it's like that is kind of like the first step that you have to take. Because once you take that step, it's like it changes your whole mindset about things. It makes you look at things differently. So once I stopped eating pork, I did get a lot of very negative feedback and things like that. People would make fun of me. And then pork also becomes a stumbling block because it's not something that that we take lightly.
Yes, sir.
And it's
Yes,
not
sir.
something that I took lightly. It's not something that I find amusing, not by any, not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So when people would make jokes about it, unfortunately, I probably let most of them have it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and you know what I'm saying? That goes for family members, etc. So I had to learn later in my development that, you know, I don't, number one, I don't have to take everything so personal. And number two, you know, you can't necessarily bring people to your way of thinking by hitting them in the head with a small baseball bat. You know, so it is better to say something differently to the person, give that person something on their mind. You know, I do a lot of coaching, I do a lot of mentoring, I do a lot of teaching. And one of the things I've learned is to hit my student with something. I hit them with some truth, and then I walk away. I leave it at that. I don't say anything else. So you're not going to debate with me. What you're going to do is wrestle with that truth bomb that I just put inside your head.
Yes,
And
sir.
you
Yes,
can
sir.
fight
Yes,
with
sir.
that. You're not fighting with me, because once I hit them with the truth, then I leave it alone. So, you know, that's something that you have to learn in your, you know, evolution. But you know, but to be in the minister's presence is a completely overwhelming, and you know, you're in awe of him. There was a believers meeting, I don't know, I'll say maybe 7 to 10 years ago. And the minister was kind of, he was asking like the believers, you know, like what their professions and things were. And brother Abdul Aziz, the assistant supreme, you know, I was on post, and he, you know, the minister was asking about whatever particular field at this particular time. And he sent someone to relieve me, and he looked at me and he was like, man, get over there, get in line, man, go say what you know, go say what you do. So I went over there, and brother Andre Bayah, and like I said, the assistant supreme and someone else, they were like kind of right there when I spoke. And man, I was up there stuttering. I'm sweating. I probably lost about 10 pounds. And you know, it just 2-3 minutes of speaking, not even 2-3 minutes, a minute and a half. And then when I came off, I said to brother Andre Bayah, I said, man, I was so nervous, man. I didn't think I was gonna make it. He said, hey man, I forgot what he said, but he was like, that shows that your mind is in the right place. You know, because you know, it was just a simple thing, like, you know, like, what do you do? And I told him I work for the state of Illinois. I'm an investigator about the mentoring, coaching programs I'm doing and stuff like that. But man, I was up there butchering it and stuttering and fumbling all around.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. And but listen, I want to make sure I thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family, sir. We thank a lot for you and all of the work that you continue to put in.
Yes, sir. Thank
Sandra,
you.
2X's, saying thank a lot for the fruit all around the world. My sister Miriam's continue, thank you. Praise be to Allah. So Sandra saying she's pork free. But let's have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. And then we want to come back because we want to talk about you and some of the other things that you are known for as far as with executive protection and doing security. Hold on one second. And hearing your testimony, praise be to Allah. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, here we go. Boom. If media production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Oh, here we go. Also, my sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Please go get those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia, we love our tiny dancers. Sister Rashida Rafat, Rod Communications. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. If you're working on a book and need copy editing, project management, media development, please reach out to Sister Rashida Rafat. Also, student minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas, conflict mediation, squashing the beef in the Southwest region. He does a great job with that. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad. Please continue to support her in her book, Children of the Most High, Giving Birth to a God with Sister Fudia Muhammad, The Science of Child Rearing. We're coming right back to Brother Leslie. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you all anywhere in the country. Thank you very much. Sister Sherry Muhammad, Asiatic Minds. She does a great job of teaching young kings and queens virtually. If you want to send your child to a virtual school, please send them to Asiatic Minds online. Thank you very much, Sister Sherry, for your great work. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry Circulegs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad of Chicago, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, also Down Is Not Out, both of which are available on his website, abdulsharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse. Thank you very much. Both are available on Amazon. Okay, right back to Brother Leslie. Brother Leslie.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My next question for you, sir, is how did you get into doing executive protection on the Supreme Captain? How did that come about?
Well, that came about. I was, like I said, I was a lieutenant, I guess, from about 1996, 97 until 2000. And then in early 2000, brother Benny Moe asked me to come and roll with him on some details, which was all with Supreme at the time. And Supreme, most of his children were pretty young at that time, so we used to go to the show a lot and a couple of other things. So that kind of became pretty consistent. And then somewhere around late spring, early summer is when I kind of started rolling on an almost daily basis. So I've been with the Supreme Captain for over two decades now. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And out of all of the times that you've done security or just traveling with your profession, has there ever been a time when you were faced with fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Yes, most definitely. Going to the Million Man March. A lot of people who weren't born at the time and people who just really didn't know the climate. We can talk about it as a great event and one of the most monumental events on the planet. But anybody who says they went there and kind of knew what was going to happen outside of the minister is probably being a little disingenuous. I mean, we could have went there and the United States military could have rolled out tanks and started firing at us. We didn't know what was going to happen. So that was an extremely emotionally draining event. I pledged my fraternity 3 times. I was in the Devil's military, so I went through basic training, and I played football in high school and college. And when I played football in the early 80s and in the early and late 80s, we had double sessions. So football practice during that time, particularly in the heat and things like that, is unbelievably taxing. All of those, I would say, would about equal the day of October 15th, 1995. Or October 16th, if I said it wrong. It was an extremely taxing day. And there's been occasions when we were with the minister and with Supreme where it may have appeared that, today's the day. Today's the day where we might have to, show improve, that we are real, that we are human sacraments for our cause. We are not here playing games. We do not take the minister or the supreme captain's safety for granted, and we do not take our own personal safety for granted either. So, we the we we call ourselves protectors of the minister, protectors of Islam in the West, protectors of the supreme captain, being blessed to be a part of the minister's extended security team. But the reality is, Almighty God Allah is your only true protection in this universe. So the Almighty God has a protective hedge around the minister, and everyone that is close to the minister is up under that umbrella of hedge of protection, and we being close to them are also up under that same protection. But like I said, we live in a physical world, so we are also a human sacrament, if as be or if necessary.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, we spoke earlier about your marriage, Brother Leslie, and you've been married for quite some time. What advice would you give to future husbands?
I guess my best advice would be, be patient with your wife, be patient with yourself. We all make mistakes. Most people don't make as many mistakes as I have, and as large mistakes as I have made, but you have to be patient. This brother Mustafa, our supreme captain, is constantly teaching us through his words, but more so teaching us through his actions. Mm-hmm. He is a devoted family man to his father, to his wife, to his children, grandchildren, and also devoted to his nation. And that's a very difficult mix. I've traveled with the minister all over the country. I've been to both the East Coast and the West Coast. I've been to DC over 10 times. I've been to New York maybe 5 to 10 times. I've been to Atlanta, I've been to Alabama, I've been all over. And Detroit probably about 25 times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's not easy. I worked for the state of Illinois while I was doing majority of this traveling. So at any given point in time, they could have, I could have had a conflict, or at any given point in time, they could have been like, hey, we saw you on television with the minister. What's going on?
Yes,
and you need to make a choice. Praise be to Almighty God, I was never put in that position, because I'm here for life. My family has been raised in the nation. I've been married for 25 years, as you mentioned, and I've learned a lot about how to be more accepting of other people's faults. I've learned a lot more of that. You have to do more trying to influence people, more so than trying to direct or order them. And you also have to learn to be a man and a woman of your word, because anyone that is in any position of leadership, anyone that is in the nation, in truth, any adult Black male, people are watching your every single move and your every single step. They are watching, they are weighing your words against your actions and your temperament, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a very, my children are, I have 2 daughters and 2 sons. My oldest daughter is Intisar. She's 24. My oldest son is Kahir. He's 23. My youngest son is Zachariah. He's 18, and my youngest daughter is Yasmia. All last name Muhammad, of course. And she recently made 11 a few Fridays ago.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Brother Leslie, what do you do for fun, sir?
I play chess mostly.
Okay, I like chess.
Yeah. I brother Kareem set up before he left Chicago. I believe he's in North Carolina now. He set up the chess program and chess team and class over at Muhammad University of Islam, and I was instrumental in helping him to set that up. And so that's primarily what I do as far as recreational activity would be concerned. Also, I'm in I do things to work out and keep myself and fighting trim as we call it. I am in VSK, but I'm slightly injured now, so I haven't been able to be active in class.
Yes, sir. Okay, great. What type of music do you listen to, Brother Leslie?
I listen to all kinds. I listen to some of the contemporary hip hop. I probably couldn't identify most of the artists as far as like if you play the song and say, well, who's this? I couldn't do that, but I can identify the songs. And I listen to all kind of music. I listen to rock and roll. I listen to R&B, and music like that. Some of my favorite artists I would say would be Prince, Boogie Down Production, Public Enemy, Ice Cube, Teddy Pendergrass, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, stuff like that.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Well,
I also like Queen. I see you I also like Queen.
Oh, yes, you like Queen? Me too. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Brother Leslie, what do you want your legacy to be, sir?
Wow, that's a pretty deep question. I want my legacy to be that I endured hardness as a good soldier. That I was a faithful believer. A man who tried to build his nation. To build your nation, you first have to build yourself. To build your nation, you first have to build your baby nation. Men have to take care of their wives, their children, their offspring. And that's your baby nation, because you can't be faithful to your larger nation if you're not really taking care of your baby nation.
Yes, sir.
And I want to I want both of my children grew up with parents that had a lot more information than most other people had. All of my children, I may have said that wrong. All of my children grew up with both parents with college degrees. My wife has master advanced degrees. So we have given them a foundation that they can go forth and conquer. That's what my oldest son name means, Kahir. It means conqueror. It's one of the attributes. So, I want to be known as a man that stood up for his people, a man that stood up for his nation, and a man who is willing to be, like I said, a human sacrament at any time for his nation, his baby nation, and his larger Ummah community.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Well, I can't wait to put this on YouTube. I'm going to thank you again, Brother Leslie. Thank you again for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family. Thank everybody who's watching. Some people showing you love in the comments. Thank you all. And I can't wait to put this on YouTube. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you as well.
Thank you again, sir. Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir.